Hello, Design for Literacy students. Today is April 2nd, and we are working towards week 11. We're doing our DERT Storybook projects, and we're entering now the design completion phase. And that means that basically everyone needs to be completing their books, wrapping up all the layouts, getting their cover designs finalized, and being ready for a presentation on Thursday to review your full book. That's the ultimate goal, but we do have one more week after this week for our final file preparation. So there's a little wiggle room there if you're having if you're needing more time to complete your illustrations because your style is a little more time intensive than you thought. I'm not encouraging that you get to that point, but it would be great if you could have things finished for this week and then just reserve the extra time for any small changes, because we will be starting our next project after next week. So I just want to go over kind of some things to think about in order to get you guys to be as successful as possible. First step is to be sure you're considering the feedback that was given with a review session. We had Demi with us yesterday, and she provided lots of good feedback, and also for myself and other students in your groups. So there should be small considerations at this point. Your big decisions should be done. You should have your style, your design style set. Your color palette should be pretty close, maybe trying some things out. Your typography should be figured out, but some of you are still considering making changes, so that's all good. Just make sure you're using your time wisely. You're planning for a week's worth of work that you can get done, and the feedback needs to make sense to you and not follow some suggestion right out the door, heading down the wrong street. But everyone seems to have a good grasp on what they're doing, and their books are all looking really fantastic. It's also a time to think about your text direction. If there's still a need for editing, if there's still a need for refining, do that. And if you want to share with me, or even Demi for that matter, I can share with her if you want some feedback or opinions on what works best in editing your text. And then just keep an eye on your storyboard and use it as a reference, but also update it if it's changing, if you found the need to change the way a layout's being done, or add or take away layouts. Remember, if you're adding or taking away, you're wanting to keep things divisible by 4, not including the cover, the inside cover, the inside back, or the back. And then you're pretty much deploying your illustration techniques. You shouldn't be refining on how to draw at this point or how to graphically put together the look of your spreads. You should pretty much be in full execution mode with several spreads under your belt and with just a few more to go. So hopefully you're just pretty much in work mode, and not to say that you shouldn't push and experiment and try things, but keep it within a parameter that you can complete your book, and this is not the time to change direction. And then so that's going to lead to finalizing and finishing your layouts, your cover, your back. Some fixed elements to think about that are outside your pages for your own design. Just a reminder for everyone, on the cover and on the back, the fixed elements include the DERT logo, which needs to be at the size and the position that it was put on your template. It should not be moved. Keep it in the white box, keep it black, don't change it. It's a little different than the board book. I don't want to have this change, so keep that for everyone. And keep in mind there's going to be a UPC code at the back. So as much as it might have been cooler to have this trail take the whole page, it needed to be adjusted in order to accommodate that. So keep that in mind. And on the inside, another fixed element is the first page. And a reminder that the left side here is actually the inside cover. So your page 1's the right side of your first spread. This is your page 1. The scribble is going to stay. That's a little watermark there. And then at the bottom here, if you could type in your name, I believe it's been updated to 2021. But if you could type in your name, that would be super helpful and avoid me typing your name wrong, which you don't want to happen. So add that in, don't change the type style, keep it the same. If you're having trouble linking with this type style, I know that happens a lot for some reason. We've tried to solve it, but accidents grotesque somehow is not always connecting. Don't worry. It might look pink if it's, you know, in the view mode that shows the invisibles, but just type your name in. It shouldn't matter. It shouldn't make it too big. And if it shows up missing on your packaging, you know, next week, don't worry about that. Another fixed element, this is page 2 and 3, and this stays the same. This page stays blank. And what I'm going to want you to focus on in this page is 2 things. One is creating a description of your concept, as well as a little bit of a biography. So here basically you're going to kind of update the sentence here. It's going to say your name. You may want to update whether it's designed or whether it's written and illustrated or whether it's just illustrated. It's kind of up to you. Adapted by, you know, think about the text in terms of what you want your credit to be in the proper way. Here it says a graphic design student, probably should say communication design student from wherever you're from. And then this can stay the same. You're part of the Parsons team. And then here is just a short description that talks about your concept, which I think is kind of important to share what your motivations were in terms of the story, why you picked the story, and how you decided to illustrate and design it. So think that through and maybe look at your concept statement for a resource to be able to complete this. And then at the end, it's an opportunity for you to do some promotion and put in your URL for your site. Hopefully everyone has something. You should by now. If you don't, get on that. Everything else stays the same. Don't touch these paragraphs, the first and the second, and the first and the third and the fourth. And the DERT logo stays here. This stays blank. And then the portrait. Usually we have these fun photo shoots, and everyone has a really professional portrait. With the pandemic, we can't do that. So I'm going to ask that everyone find a way, find a nice setup where you're at, good daylight, a neutral background. Notice I'm using the word portrait, not selfie. Like, get someone to help you, or if you're really good at selfies, fine. But I want it to look like as close to the sort of standard, because everyone's portraits have looked like this through the years. And now that we don't have a photographer to do that, my hope is that you guys can find a way to mimic this style as close as possible. Make your photo black and white, have a nice light gray background in the background, and retouch your hair if needed so that and we can do a little bit of this as well, but make a portrait as good as you can in a professional way. Think more along the line of LinkedIn, you know, versus a Snapchat thing. So please do your best with that. I would really appreciate a great portrait there for each of you to show your best. And then another fixed element is on the very last page. This is the last page of the book, and this is the inside cover. And here we're going to feature other DERT books, and you don't have to worry about that. I think there's already books in there right now. It might be different when we print yours, but basically this should be all in place, and you shouldn't have to worry about that. Okay, another thing, remember the bleed. I should have probably been preaching this more and earlier, and I brought it up with the baby board book, and you guys responded mostly well. Just a few people had some issues. But basically what that means is here's an example spread. And in this case, like many of you, the illustration covers the entire plane of the paper. It's like the whole live area has something going on right to the edges. In order for printing to be able to do this without having white show here, because you can't be perfect when you trim things, there's a level of tolerance you have to have when trimming books. You need a bleed to ensure that those kind of little mistakes don't reveal a white line. So basically what you need, oh shoot, I didn't put it in the right picture. I have two of the same picture. Darn it. Okay. So what was supposed to happen when I clicked here was that you would see the view in InDesign where you see your guides, and you would see that these illustration elements continue. So the picture is actually a little bit bigger than it is, so that around the entire area, these elements extend. And if you don't, and if you haven't done this, and you've already made your illustration and it's fixed, one quick solution would be to simply enlarge your illustration. Like this one here, you can enlarge it and make it so that it bleeds. Hopefully that doesn't start messing things up for you. Again, I should have probably warned you earlier about this, but we're gonna need to make sure there's a bleed so that the image box is 1/8 of an inch outside of the live area and the image extends out here. And sorry, I didn't place the right image into this presentation. All right, so once you get your book layouts and cover layouts completed, we're going to need to have a presentation updated so that you have a full presentation and you're able to showcase your final design. We'll have just reviews next week with the class. I haven't determined yet how to do that. Maybe we'll split it in two again, or maybe we'll do small groups, or maybe I'll mix up the groups. I'm sorry, I didn't figure this out yet. But we're not going to have the special guest thing until the final. So we're working more towards the final being the ultimate moment where you'll be presenting, but I still want you to make this presentation because you're going to need it. And again, just another little slip in possible emergency shoot that even if you're very behind, and even next week, an extra week during final files, even if that's not working, then the ultimate presentation is going to be last day of class. I'm not giving everybody a free pass to put everything out to the last day of class, but that is going to be when things are really, really due for our guest set of guest reviewers to look at this. But update your presentation and be ready to present next week. Again, on the Google Drive, make sure you're putting your files into the folder this week's is part 5. If you didn't do yesterday, your part 4, please do that. I'll be doing grades soon. I don't want to have to track you down. So please, I saw there was like about 14 of them, so some of you are missing. So please do that as soon as possible. And again, if you're needing to reference things and you're wondering how other books were done by DERT, there is the class resources folder at the bottom of our Google Drive page. And in there, there's a storybook archive, and you can kind of see different PDFs of past books that could be helpful to look at. So don't be shy, take a look at those things. I've put the assignment on Canvas with a description of everything I've been talking about, and you can refer to that there. And then lastly, please remember, if you haven't yet, to send me your address, or if you're in New York, let me know if you're able to come by to my office to pick up your baby board book. They're super cool, and I want to mail these out right away. I've gotten lots of responses from many of you, but some of you not yet. And if you could either Slack me or email me with your address, the best place to mail your book to, because I want to get those in your hands because they're really great. Ideally, I'd like to get them into your hands by before the end of class, so you have them by finals. I know some of you are very far away, and that may not be possible. I'm going to do my best. So I need your address right away. All right, so that's it for this week. Please be sure you're focused on your assignment. Everyone's got great books in the making, and following through, running through the finish line at your best pace is important. Make sure you prioritize this project. I know you have lots going on in your life, other classes, other things, who knows the craziness that's going on out there, but be focused, be confident in what you're doing, work and push yourself to make this as great as possible. Every little detail counts. Get in there and make these final pieces as great as you can. I'll be excited to see the results, and we will see you next week at our next class session. Reach out to me as you need. I will respond. Send me stuff, Slack me things, email me. I'm here to be your partner to help you make this great, and I can give you feedback as quick as I can. All right, we'll see you guys next Thursday. Bye.